Okay, so are you ready to like totally rethink how you think about math? Because today we're doing this deep dive that's all about rediscovering like the hidden beauty of mathematics, the creativity, the elegance that kind of gets buried under all the textbooks and formulas. We're
Well,
talking A Mathematician's Lament by Paul Lockhart.
yeah, Lockhart really throws down a challenge to the traditional way we approach math. And he makes this point that it's like teaching music by only analyzing sheet music, right? No instruments, no singing, just notes on a page.
You're totally missing the heart and soul of the music that way.
Exactly. And he argues that's exactly what we do with math. Like, we hand students this formula for the area of a triangle, which, by the way, took generations of brilliant minds to discover, and we just expect them to memorize it.
And where's the joy in that? Where's the thrill of figuring it out for yourself?
He talks about the beauty of mathematical arguments, comparing them to these elegant dances of logic, right? And he uses this amazing example about a student proving a theorem about triangles inside semicircles.
Okay, so how did they do it? Most textbooks would just hit you with that rigid multi-step proof, right?
Right, but this student took a completely different approach. Imagine taking that triangle inside the semicircle and just rotating it.
How much?
Just by visualizing this rotation, the student effortlessly demonstrated a really fundamental geometric truth. There was an elegance to their method, an intuitiveness that the textbook proof with all its steps and labels just completely lacked.
So that's what Lockhart wants us to rediscover, that intuitive leap, that aha moment that makes math click instead of memorizing all those rules.
Yeah, and he really goes after high school geometry in this piece.
He does not pull any punches.
No, he does not. He called it mentally and emotionally destructive.
Wow.
Which might sound extreme, but his point is that the way geometry is typically taught, with this emphasis on rigid two-column proofs, often just stifles the natural way we think about shapes and spatial relationships.
So instead of nurturing a student's ability to visualize and reason spatially, we kind of force them into this box of formal proof that can really make them doubt their own intuition.
It's like telling a budding artist to only paint by numbers.
Exactly.
And it's not just geometry either. Lockhart takes issue with the way we get bogged down in definitions and jargon, often at the expense of really understanding.
Oh, totally.
He uses the example of mixed numbers versus improper fractions, which are really describing the same mathematical concept.
Right.
But they're treated as these separate entities, and it just creates so much unnecessary confusion.
It's like we're so busy labeling and categorizing in math that we forget to step back and appreciate the bigger picture, like the underlying concepts that connect everything. So it seems like what Lockhart is saying is that we've basically sucked all the joy out of math, right? But he doesn't just want to complain about it, does he? He actually has some ideas about how to fix this, how to make math engaging.
Oh, absolutely. Lockhart wants to totally transform math education from the ground up.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
So what would that actually look like? What's the alternative to just endless drills and formulas?
Well, imagine a classroom that's buzzing with this energy of exploration and discovery, where instead of force-feeding answers, we encourage students to ask their own questions. To embrace the unknown and maybe even revel in making mistakes.
Mistakes. Wait, are you saying we should be celebrating wrong answers?
Well, think about it. When we're so afraid of making a mistake, we don't take risks, right? We don't explore those unconventional paths.
That makes sense.
And a lot of times those wrong turns, they can lead to the most profound insights. They force us to really re-examine our assumptions and come up with these really creative solutions.
It's like that famous quote, I think it's Thomas Edison who said it, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
Exactly. And I think that very much applies to math as well.
Yeah.
Lockhart actually suggests that maybe we should throw out those early arithmetic lessons and replace them with strategy games, like chess, Go, or even just having kids invent their own games.
Oh, wow.
Anything to ignite that spark of logical thinking and problem solving. Those are so fundamental to mathematics.
So less emphasis on standardized testing and more on cultivating a love for puzzles and patterns.
Exactly. He argues that by nurturing this kind of mathematical intuition and creativity, we're not just creating future mathematicians, right? We're empowering people to become more insightful, adaptable thinkers, and those skills are, invaluable in any field.
For sure.
It's about developing a mindset, a way of approaching challenges that goes way beyond the boundaries of any one subject.
It's funny because that reminds me of something else Lockhart talks about. He pushes back against this idea that math is just a tool for science and technology.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's one application of it, but it's like saying music is just for marching bands, or Michelangelo just cared about decorating ceilings.
Such a good analogy.
Yeah.
Like, it highlights how we reduce these rich, multifaceted disciplines to their most, like, utilitarian applications.
Yeah.
Lockhart wants us to remember that mathematics, at its core, is a form of art. It has its own inherent beauty and elegance, its own power to inspire wonder and awe.
So it's not just about what math can do. It's about what math is, how it allows us to think and feel. He wants us to just appreciate math on its own terms.
Exactly. And just like we don't expect everyone to become a painter after visiting an art museum, we shouldn't shy away from exposing people to the beauty of mathematics, even if they don't plan to pursue it professionally. The point is to open their minds to new ways of seeing the world and cultivate a deeper appreciation for, like, the power of abstract thought.
So Lockhart's painted this picture of math as this amazing undiscovered country. But how do we actually get there? I mean, if we've been raised in this system of memorizing formulas and stuff, how do we even start seeing those hidden patterns he's talking about?
Well, I think it starts with a shift in mindset. We have to move away from that fear of being wrong, that, like, need to have all the answers immediately.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Right. Lockhart would say we need to, like, embrace the struggle.
Embrace the struggle.
Yeah. Those moments of confusion, of hitting a wall, that's where the really good stuff happens.
Okay, but how many times have you personally stared at a math problem and just wanted to, like, chuck the textbook across the room?
Oh, countless times. But I think, what if, instead of getting frustrated, we kind of reframed that struggle as part of the process? Like,
Yeah.
instead of asking, did I get the right answer?
You ask.
What can I learn from this? What new questions does this, like, raise?
So it's about being okay with not knowing the answer right away.
Exactly. And, sometimes those, like, wrong turns can actually lead to more interesting discoveries than if we had just followed the well-worn path. Lockhart actually argues that some of the greatest mathematicians were the ones who weren't afraid to break the rules and challenge conventional thinking.
So a little rebellion is good in mathematics.
Absolutely. Like, question everything. Don't just accept a formula or a theorem at face value.
Yes.
Really demand to understand, like, the why, the underlying logic. That's the kind of curiosity that fuels true innovation, and not just in math.
Right, in any field. So to wrap things up, if you're listening to this and you've always thought of math as this, like, dry, intimidating subject,
Yeah.
just remember Lockhart's message. It's not about memorizing formulas or acing standardized tests. It's about rediscovering the inherent beauty and elegance that really underpins, like, the entire universe.
It's about seeing the world through this mathematical lens.
It's about appreciating the patterns and connections that have maybe always been right in front of us. So next time you encounter a math problem, no matter how small, whether it's figuring out a tip or, like, solving a Sudoku puzzle, don't just grab your calculator. Take a second to really engage with the challenge. Play with it. Who knows, you might surprise yourself. You might discover a really elegant solution and feel that joy when it all finally clicks.